Gold and silver are wonderful things. They have given me a lot of growth personally, emotionally, and from a financial perspective, of course, they have done very well over the last 8 or 9 years of me owning gold. However, the financial literacy that I've gained individually from owning gold and silver is worth way more than even a box of beautiful sovereigns. It's just so sad to see how little financial literacy there is in the world right now. People just don't know about real money. And they are in this zombified state almost of walking through life without real care and attention for their own personal finances and their futures. And that's what gold and silver have done best for me. Not only protect and preserve my financial future, but they've helped grow it. And they've helped me grow as a person to change what I'm doing and to make the best decisions for my personal finances and my family's future. And this is how. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and very warm welcome to you joining me for another Precious Metal Ramble, where we have down-to-earth discussions about all things precious and shiny, whether they be beautiful coins, poured silver, or gigantic lovely boxes of sovereigns. Now, as you can see, there is an array of different things that I like as a silver and gold stacker, and a lot of those things have changed over the literally 10 years of me buying silver and gold. I have changed as a person. My life has changed. I have a family. I have kids now. That has changed my shift and my outlook and my focus for where I want my gold and silver investments to be over a long period of time. And I thought it would be interesting to do a bit of a reflection on the changes that I've undergone as a stacker that have also changed me as a person, because silver and gold undoubtedly has changed me. I've changed my life because of it. My career direction changed because of YouTube, because of creating pieces of poured silver and having that inspiration to make videos about gold and silver coins and my investing. And I really do think that is a good thing. I think it has grown my financial literacy beyond any measure of where I thought it would be, to the point where I have almost genuinely considered taking financial advice qualification courses and becoming a proper financial advisor. But I'm just far too busy at the moment with my own business and life and family and kids, and it's just maybe one day in the future when I'm deciding whether or not I want to continue being Backyard Bullion for the next 20 years. But nevertheless, a lot has changed, and a lot has changed within me as well. And that's affected the decisions that I make as a stacker and collector. And I want to share some of those with you here today, and hopefully get your brain juices flowing to think about what's right for you and your circumstances. So whilst I'm not qualified to give financial advice, I do like to what's the best phrase, to instill a sense of financial literacy within as many people as I possibly can in this world. The super secret Backyard Bullion Cool Kids Club phrase from the last video was financial literacy, yes please. And I've really been thinking about that topic because unfortunately right now in this world there are far too many people who have really quite low levels of financial literacy. And silver and gold are a great way to break out of that norm, of that just zombified state that it seems a lot of people are in at the moment around their own personal finances, around personal debt, spending, and all of that. So there's a lot to unpack in this video, and I do hope that you'll share your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section. And a quick reminder from a YouTube algorithm point of view, don't forget to hit the thumbs up. If you comment down below, it really helps our algorithm. And if you're liking our content and you're not subscribed, then subscribe, because we're fast moving through the subscriber milestones, and it would be amazing to get to that 100,000 subscriber milestone and get that little YouTube plaque. So let's dive in and talk about how silver has changed me. So before we get into that, I do want to just back up and talk a little bit about my journey. So I started stacking silver in my late 20s, and that kind of gives away my age. I'm not going to give my exact age away, but I'm now firmly set within my middle age. And there is a distinct difference between, in my opinion, starting an investment and financial journey to sort of financial freedom in your mid to late 20s than it is your mid to late 40s. There is most certainly a difference in stage of life, career, earning potential, other potential things that are affecting you in terms of bills. You may have kids and a family and a mortgage, a bigger mortgage than perhaps in your early 20s. There could be a whole host of different things for you to consider as a financial independent person or financially independent person. So there are a lot of things that I reflect back on in my mid-20s that I was really not very good on at all in terms of my spending. Now, I had always tried to keep on top of my own personal finances, and I like to think I was quite good at saving my money, but when I look back on things and I really reflect back, I really wasn't that great. Now, it doesn't mean to say that I was driving around in a stupidly flash car and having all the latest gizmos and gadgets at every opportunity I could. But at the same time, I didn't save very much, and I was in this sort of consumerism sort of cycle of buying things that realistically I just really didn't need. And it was only after I'd had that sort of success post-university, in career, working in, it wasn't a high-flying job by, millions and millions of pounds in disposable income by any stretch. I wasn't in that kind of category, but I was earning decent money, and it kind of got to me that I wanted to focus more on the future of my finances, because I'd always had this thing in the back of my mind of I liked my work in that it was nice to be busy, and I was pretty good at my job, and people seemed to agree with me that I was pretty good at my job. But at the same time, deep down, I really didn't like going to work, and I didn't like the idea of going to work for the rest of my life just to basically fund all the things I was trying to achieve in my life. And I felt that there were better ways to do that, and investing and making sure that I made the wise financial decisions was one of those. And that's how I stumbled across silver and gold in the first place, because myself and Mrs. Backyard Bullion were in a similar position. We were both earning good money, and we didn't have any of the responsibilities of parenthood at that point, or large mortgages to consider. And we did have this opportunity to both put our heads down, work, save, and invest, and get a leapfrog on the old early retirement game. And fingers crossed, that plan is still working, and that's working well, despite changes in our lives and what we're doing in terms of our goals. But it's working, and I would love to think that one day we could both just sit back, relax, and enjoy our dotage. And I'm looking forward to that very much. And silver and gold have really helped me along that journey. Now, it is very important to remind you, again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a guy who talks about shiny things on YouTube. And it is very important to remind you that everybody's financial circumstances are different, and their goals are going to be different. And for me, my goals were early retirement. For other people, that might just be starting to try and think about generational wealth for their kids. Being a parent certainly has changed my outlook on a lot of the investment decisions I make, and the gold and silver purchases I make now. In the back of my mind, I've always got, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, then this is all going to be for the kids or for Mrs. Backyard Bullion. So you kind of start to think about your mortality a little bit more when you sort of get into your middle age. And you think, certainly when you have kids anyway, you really do kick into overdrive about the, what's going to happen in the future when you're not there, and how are they going to handle all this stuff? How are they going to take an inheritance? What are they going to do with it? Are they going to spend it all the hard work that we've been putting in all our lives? There's all these different things to think about. But gold and silver have really taught me more about this financial literacy side of things that I never really would have thought about. The money in our pockets, the devaluation of currency, the worries that we have about debt in this country as consumers. And I really am very, very worried and concerned about the state of the country, which is why I still have a lot of gold. If I didn't view the concerns that I have into the future with any degree of worry, I wouldn't still have it, because my original goal for gold and silver was to help transport wealth through time for a point in our lives when we might need to spend some of that money. And we have a family now, we have kids, we have bills, we have lots of other things going on in life that we want to achieve. And, part of me would be saying, a lot of the money that we've got locked up in gold and silver right now, it's achieved a lot. We've tripled our money on some of the bits of gold that we bought 10 years ago, and even more so tripled. And, it does make you think about, when are you going to cash out? When are you going to actually have that money come out of this investment, which ultimately does nothing along the way? It doesn't give you an income. It's just money that's locked away, or cash it out and use it for things. But the state of our economy, the state of our country, the state of our finances, I say our finances as in our country's finances, concern me so greatly that I feel like holding this gold for a long time is actually going to be way more beneficial than selling it and using the money to do something else. And that's, I think, the most important thing that people just ignore in this common world we live in. There are so many people out there who just spend, spend, spend. In fact, it was very interesting. I heard a thing on the radio today, very interesting little broadcast about what is rich? What do you define as rich? And when do you have enough? Now, I'm not going to lie, I'm very fortunate in life that we've worked hard and we've saved hard, and that's helped us get to where we are in our lives. There's nothing to be ashamed of being successful, but at the same time, there is an element of enough is enough at some point for everyone. But there are people out there who can't see enough is enough, and they spend what they earn. And there were people texting in and commenting on this radio broadcast that they're earning, six-figure salaries, but it's not enough because they just get that money coming in, and they've got the ridiculously large mortgage with the stupidly large house. They've got all of their gadgets that they're paying for monthly bills on, their cars and everything. And it's never really sat well with me. We've got this financial literacy. And then these people, they ask for the world's smallest violins to be played for them as they can't cope with the modern societies and modern bills, and they're earning six figures. And, that is not right. There are people in this world far less fortunate that are living on far fewer bits of disposable income in their lives that have more because they think that they view themselves as having enough. And that, I think, is a really interesting element of silver and gold stacking. I'm getting to that point where, I have enough, and I'm not worried about expanding that financial portfolio because we're protected against the norms, the craziness. We're protected against all of that. And that's the best feeling in the world. And that's what I really, really like. And it has allowed me this ability to see see the woods from the trees, basically, within the world of gold and silver and our finances, because of the financial freedom that silver and gold has given me and the emotional freedom I think that I've gained from owning this stuff. It has allowed me to be able to make wiser financial decisions in the greater picture of things. And it's allowed me also to do things that I never thought I would do as a gold and silver stacker. So, for example, this box here, my attempt at a date run of sovereigns. I will never complete the date run of sovereigns because there are various different key dates in these years that are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands. I think the 1819 sovereign, for example, is £1 million coin. I'm never buying that. There's no chance in hell I'm ever buying that. I mean, there's no chance in hell I'm buying a £5,000 sovereign for 1838, I think is the other key date year. But I'd love to one day if I can. Maybe not the £1 million sovereign. That would be a kind of leap of faith. I would definitely not do that, even if gifted £1 million today. I would use that £1 million for way many other beautiful things. But maybe the £5,000 sovereign to finish a collection beyond the silliness of the 1819 is a bucket list thing. And it's like, this is a collection. This is no longer an investment. And this is me for me. There's money locked up in here in this box for the kids' future. And when the kids, I don't know, if I kick the bucket and they get this box of things, they might sell it all and move, whatever, I'm gone. I wouldn't be there to care. But for me, while I'm here, I can make good financial decisions. I can learn about these things. I can find the key dates. I can see when a deal is good and I can buy them and I can enjoy them. I can be the custodian of history for these coins for the next few years on our short journey here on this planet that we live on. But it's only because of the financial literacy gained from all of my understanding of gold and silver, from the growth that I've had emotionally, not financially, but the emotional growth I've had from all of this that's really helped me along the way. And that's what I would say is the best thing about gold and silver. And even if you're starting now, even if you're looking to buy your gold and silver in 2025, when it's at high prices, when the price of raw materials are so high and the premiums are even higher, I like to think that for anyone, it can give you this financial freedom, this sort of disconnect. It's almost like disconnecting from the matrix sometimes of our modern society, and you can look to what is right for you in the future. And a lot of people have found that. I think a lot of people have found that exact thing that they're looking for from gold and silver because of community, because of independence, financial independence that this stuff gives. Now, don't get me wrong, there are important decisions and learning lessons to be had along the way. If you're paying for your Britannias brand new from the Royal Mint or from other bullion dealers at £65 plus an ounce, then I'm not entirely sure that's a financial literate decision, because spot price on these is £38 an ounce, and the premiums are just going to kill you. But at the same time, learning about this stuff is good. Learning is the most important thing, and I've always striven, I've always striven, it's a word now, striven to learn about the newest things in this world and the new investments out there. And it's fascinating to me, the human condition for our relationship with money. And it really is quite, I think, scary to think about. The vast majority of people in this country don't know. And that scares me most as a parent. And I do have moral questions now about, like, how do you bring your kids up to know about this stuff without... Let's be quite frank here. This box, I haven't done an exact count, but it holds 104 sovereigns. In fact, let's do an exact count, because it holds 104 sovereigns, this box. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. We've got 15 empty slots. So what's that? 89 sovereigns in here. Okay, yeah, this needs to go back in the secure deposit box, I think. 89 sovereigns is quite a lot. But, you know, here we go. 89 times 750 is spot price. But that's your key phrase for the cool kids. Quote me what the value is at 750 a sovereign in the comment section. Yes, there is some money here. There is no doubt about that. So how do you introduce this to your kids without them knowing that there is a significant amount of money waiting for them at some point down the line in their future? I think it is very much stick this in the safe deposit box and let them find out about this when they're a lot older. I think what we do as parents, what we can do as parents, is only educate our children on the value of money. We don't necessarily spoil them by telling them they've got a box of sovereigns coming their way when they're in their young years. And of course, there's other security related stuff that's there. You know, you don't want their friends at school being told, yeah, my daddy's got a box of sovereigns, and that's not a good thing. You don't want that to happen. So yeah, there are other concerns as parents that come along, and that's changed me a lot as well. So right, okay, I think I've rambled on long enough, and I need to get back to the safe deposit box to put this away nice and safe. So if you are in the Cool Kids Club, quote me the approximate value of sovereigns in here. 89 sovereigns. Whew, that is a lot. And but I think this puts it into perspective, doesn't it? Because whilst not all of these sovereigns were bought 9 years ago, but if we bought these sovereigns 9 years ago at £250 a sovereign, you can see the growth. You can see what the potential is here. And I think there's just really a lot of very good things about having gold and silver in one's life at the moment. And it's very, very fortunate to be in that position, but also very important to learn from those positions that we're in. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. Thank you all for watching. We will see you on the next video. As always, please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.